The script discussed in this video can be found on GitHub, which is linked to on our lab website. Go to tsg-lab.org, click on the LCPC Transform tab, and click on this link, Post Processing Tools. And in the repository that opens, look for the folder called Interactive 3D.plot. Hi there, this is Dave Nguyen. In this video, we would talk about how to run this script called Interactive 3D.plot for first three PC values. In the GitHub repository that contains this script, there is a folder that will contain practice files, one called pre-formatted and one called correctly formatted. So for the pre-formatted one, it would have been the output from our script that does PCA on results of the LCPC transform. And that output only has these columns. In order to prepare this data for the 3D.plot script, you'll need to add an extra column. That column will need to have the name category spelled just like this with a capital C, no extra spaces. And in this column, you need to give a label to each row to tell the script what category the row belongs to. So there's only two categories here, either CN or AD. So here I'll just put CN, and I'll replicate this, and then I'll put AD, and I will replicate this, and now I will do file save as to rename this file, and when you do so, it will be this one, or I named it correctly formatted. If we preview it, you see that there's this new column we added, because the 3D.plot script will look for a column called category, and based on this column, it will know how to color code your dots. So once we have formatted the CSV file appropriately, we can copy the file path to this file. We go to the script and we go to line 37, and we'll have to paste in the file path between quotation marks so that it's a string. If you are on a Windows computer, you'll need this lowercase r in front of the first quotation mark. If you're on a Mac, it doesn't matter, you can leave it there. So this script assumes that you've already installed all the necessary Python libraries. Once you have pasted in this file path, all you need to do is click this play button or run this script wherever the play button is in your software. And when you click play, a browser window will open and looking like this. Here you can change the name of the graph if you want. That is in line 66. Just change the words inside of these quotation marks. And if you want to change the size of your dots, it's line 71. By default, we set it to equals 4. All right, so this is what the graph looks like. You have tools up here. You have zoom, pan, rotate in any direction, standardize the view, and go back to the home view. So this is the home view. All right, so I'm going to click zoom, and if I click and drag, then it allows me to zoom in and out. This is the pan option. If I click on it, it allows me to move it up, down, left, right. This is the orbital rotation, which allows me to do all sorts of rotations. And say I'm confused by this view, I can click on this turntable rotation tool, the letter Z, and what it does is it just makes one surface sort of flat, so to speak. And lastly, if I've rotated it in some weird way, I want to reset it, I click on the home button and it takes me back to the home view. So the great thing about this script is that if you mouse over any data point, it tells you the name of the sample. This sample is CN-9. It tells you the category equals normal, and it tells you the values of the first three PCs. That is the values on each axis. You can see this one is minus 75, 20, and 105.9. Okay, so we did this so that you can easily mouse over dots and know the identity of that dot. This sample is called AD-12. Why did we do this? So that you can easily label these dots, okay, with their input image if you want. Why would we want to do that? Well, often it's very helpful to label the dots with the actual input image so that you can appreciate what this 3D space means. So in this project, we measured the shape of insect wings, bee wings, and in particular, we only studied this cell right here, called the second medial cell. And we segmented the shape of that cell. Then we oriented this axis vertically. And we're only interested in the left side of the cell, which we extracted here. We flipped it horizontally, and then we did parallel grid LCPC. And this is the first 3 PCs. Now, because we know the identities of each dot, we can label them with the images to see that they cluster according to themes. These 3 dots are near each other, and they share the theme of having this purple straight line here in this upper part. These 3 cluster together, and they share the theme of having this waviness in this upper part. The ones down here are together because they have a smooth upper part, as represented by this. These 3 over here cluster together, or these 4 cluster because they have this theme right here. And these 2 down here, they have the similar theme as these guys, but they're shifted down because if you look at the base, there's a kink right here, represented by this magenta part, you see? So labeling the 3D space will help you appreciate what does this 3D space mean morphologically, because that's what the LCPC transform is interested in, morphological themes, in other words, shape themes. Having said that, now let's practice zooming in and out. So here I choose the zoom function so I can zoom in. Now I can click and drag, or I can use 2-finger scroll on my pad to also zoom in and out. And then if I zoom in, right, I can click on the pan tool and then drag wherever I want. Okay, and I can zoom in even further and then drag it back to the middle of the screen, you see? And then I can rotate it if I want, the view, and if I rotate it, I can use the pan function to drag it back into the middle of the screen. So this pan function, the rotate function, and the zoom function are very good for zooming in on dots, especially if they are very close to each other. Lastly, I can click home to go back to the standard view. And again, if I zoom in and rotate it some weird way, okay, I can just click on this turntable rotation, and what it does is it makes one of these 3 surfaces sort of flat, which makes more sense to the human eye. You can screenshot just the graph, and you can screenshot just the legend to make your presentations. Now notice that here we only see that there is 1 blue dot only in the normal group, and there's a bunch of red dots representing the Alzheimer's group. Now there may be purple groups that are underneath the red dots here, but they're just hidden because they're so close to each other that one covers the other. Therefore, it's useful to plot individual groups. So here I started with the input data, which has 2 categories. But what I did is I removed 1 category, right, or the other category, meaning this file here is just normals only. See that? Only normals. This file up here is only Alzheimer's. Okay, and so let's plot those individually. Now, I could copy the file path again, but since I know that the only difference between these 2 file paths is the word _normal, right, I'll just type that in myself. So if we go to VS Code, I'll go into this line here for the file path, and I'll type in _normal. And when I click run, the cool thing is it will open a new browser tab. And so here was the previous one. Here's the new one. And you can open multiple tabs. And here you can see that there's only 2, all the normals are only in these 2 locations. Now, if you zoom in, you might be able to see that these dots, there are many small dots that are not exactly on top of each other. Okay, but when you have these 2 locations graphed together, it pushes everything on top of each other, so it looks like only 2 dots. All right, so this is what it's helpful to know, that the normal cases only occupy either this region or this region. Now let's plot the Alzheimer's groups. Here I'll just change this from normal to AD because I know that that's the suffix that I added. No need to recopy the whole file path. I run this, and a new browser should open, and here it is. See, we see that the Alzheimer's groups occupies multiple spots. And in the input data had many more samples than the number of dots here. It's because a lot of the dots overlap because the points are so close to each other in this 3D space. Right? So it's helpful to know when you plot normal only and Alzheimer's only that the normals only occupy these two possible spots right here. Meaning if you go to the composite graph, one spot's here, the other spot that is normal must be somewhere, okay, in one of these. And we can guess which ones because we know their values. In fact, this one up here, we know the PC1 value is minus 75, the PC2 value is 20.5. So let's go to this here. This one is minus 75, and PC2 is 20, as you can see in the purple box. So this dot up here is the same as this dot right here, which means this dot down here must be hidden under some red dot. So this value, PC1 is minus 107, PC2 is minus 38.9. So go here, okay, minus 108 and minus 39 right here. So that other blue dot is hidden right here in this region, represented by this red dot. You see, so it's really helpful to plot them separately just to get an idea of where all possible points are for each group, especially if there's a significant amount of overlap. Sometimes there isn't, sometimes there is. But with the LCPC transform, oftentimes a lot of points will overlap. So it's helpful to graph each group separately. We made this plot interactive so that you can rotate it to find the view that best represents what you want to show. That is, there are distinct groups here. There seems to be one group right here, okay, and then you have these separate group up here, and you have these two groups out here. You see? So you can rotate this to show how your data points cluster.